A lion attends his savior's funeral. What happened next shocked everyone. In the heart of Tanzania's vast Serengeti, a place known for its untouched beauty and wild spirit, lived a man named Mr. Makonde. He was not just any man. For more than 5 decades, he had been the silent guardian of this wild land. From the days of his youth to the wrinkles of old age, he gave his life to protecting animals from harm. The entire reserve knew him as a symbol of strength, wisdom, and kindness. Even though he had retired, he still chose to drive his aging vehicle through the dusty trails every single day. He watched over the animals like a father watches over his children. The young rangers came to him for advice, and the animals, elephants, zebras, giraffes, rhinos, and lions, sensed the love in his eyes, especially the elderly ones resting in the sanctuary's safe zones. He never let the passing years dull his sense of duty. The weather had become brutal. The forecast spoke of blazing heat, reaching up to 45 degrees Celsius. But that morning, Mr. Makonde did not stay back. He wanted to check on a wounded rhino recovering from a terrible injury. Despite the burning air, he set out into the dry wilderness, determined to see the creature. As he rolled over uneven dirt roads surrounded by golden grass, sweat drenched his shirt. His breathing became heavy, but he kept going. When he reached the injured rhino, he stepped out gently. The animal was lying under a tree, its deep wound barely healing. Mr. Makonde's eyes softened. He slowly approached, wanting to ensure it was all right. Then, out of nowhere, an intense pain gripped his chest. It spread like fire, leaving him gasping. His knees gave in, and he collapsed on the warm ground, his face drained of color. Not far away, Elijah and Musa were watching over some zebras. They heard a faint cry and rushed toward the sound. When they arrived, they found their mentor unconscious, lying still in the tall grass. Elijah bent down, searching for signs of life. His heart sank when he felt the erratic rhythm of Makonde's heartbeat. Musa began searching his pockets for medication, but there was nothing. Perhaps in his rush, the old man had forgotten to bring it. Realizing the urgency, Elijah used the radio to call for medical help. All activity in the reserve paused. Rangers abandoned their posts. An emergency vehicle sped across the plains to reach him. Inside the vehicle, Elijah held his hand, whispering his name, praying for a response. But Mr. Makonde's eyes slowly closed, and his breath weakened. When they arrived at the medical center, the doctors moved swiftly. They tried every method, resuscitation, electric shocks, but after several long minutes, a voice filled with sorrow said what nobody wanted to hear. His heart had stopped. It had been still for too long. The silence in the room was unbearable. Rangers and staff gathered, their faces marked by disbelief and grief. The reserve had lost more than a man. It had lost its guiding spirit. According to his wishes, his funeral would not be in a city or a temple, but right there in the land he loved. The team began preparations with great care, choosing to follow traditional rituals from the nearby communities. The next morning, under a sky painted with soft sunlight, the courtyard became a sacred space. A simple wooden bed was placed in the center, and on it lay Mr. Makonde. His expression was peaceful, like a man who had finished his mission. One by one, those who had known him came forward. Elijah stood beside him, holding his hand and remembering the early years. Musa lit a fragrant stick, whispering prayers only the wind could hear. Then, without warning, a roar echoed across the sanctuary. People turned their heads. Fear swept through the crowd. A powerful male lion was approaching. No cage surrounded him. No ranger guided him. He moved slowly, every step deliberate. His eyes were calm, yet filled with something nobody could understand. People scattered, unsure of his intent, but he did not charge. He did not growl with anger. He walked forward and stopped at the foot of the wooden bed. Silence overtook the space. The lion lowered his head and remained still as if honoring the man before him. It was not an ordinary moment. It was sacred. Elijah's eyes widened. A scar ran along the lion's side, and then he remembered. Years ago, this very lion had been caught in a cruel trap. Hunters had left him wounded and helpless. Mr. Makande and Elijah had found him, freed him, cleaned his wound, and helped him return to health. The lion had been released back into the wild. No one had seen him again. Until now, perhaps the lion had never forgotten. Perhaps through instinct or memory he had come to say farewell. Elijah moved closer, slowly, not wanting to disturb the moment. The lion remained motionless. Musa joined him. Together they watched this majestic creature mourn a human. The fear vanished. All that remained was quiet respect. Tears fell, hearts broke. A bond older than words had revealed itself. When the funeral concluded, the group carried Mr. Makande's body to a quiet meadow he had once called his favorite place. A large tree stood there, offering shade. The earth was soft, the grass green. They laid him to rest beneath that tree. A carved stone was placed at the head of his grave, etched with his name and the years he had served. People from nearby villages came with wildflowers, incense, and prayers. Throughout it all, the lion stayed. He did not roar, nor did he leave. When the others turned back, the lion remained by the grave. As the sun set, casting golden light across the land, the lion let out a final roar. It was long and full of sorrow, echoing across the plains. The next day, the reserve remained still. No trucks moved, no patrols were conducted. The animals seemed calmer, and occasionally the lion returned, standing silently by the grave. Perhaps he understood loss. Perhaps he remembered kindness. Or maybe, in the wild heart of the Serengeti, even beasts feel gratitude. Elijah and Musa still visit often. They sit by the tree, sharing stories, watching the horizon, and continuing the dream of protecting the land Mr. Makande loved. And in that place, surrounded by wind and grass and memories, the legend of a man and the loyalty of a lion live on.